Welcome to historic Oakwood Cemetery in Syracuse, New York. Oakwood was established in 1859 as part of the rural cemetery movement. It was planned and landscaped as a park-like setting where city residents could escape the dirt and dust of downtown streets. There are 159 acres and 60,000 burials. You can see our starting point for this tour just ahead, the chapel. The chapel was built in 1879. It was constructed of Onondaga limestone, and the architect was Joseph Lyman Silsby. But it's time to start our tour. Our tour today is called Murder Most Foul. It's the first in a series of murder cases involving residents of Oakwood Cemetery. Let's look at the first two cases of murder most foul. The first case is that of Helen Rancière. Helen was the 38-year-old wife of William Rancière. They had 3 children and lived at 18 Wayne Street. William worked as a teamster, a coachman. Here we have Adam Sutter. He was a 32-year-old painter born in Bavaria. He was married and had 5 children. A former Prussian military officer, he came to America with his family in 1872. Adam's English was very poor. Enter Helen Rancière, who offered to help Adam with his English. Rumors started to fly that the two were involved. Helen, in a pique, went to Mrs. Sutter to tell her that Adam was unfaithful, but not with her. It all came to a head on March 22, 1884. According to Helen, she and Adam were to meet on Howard Street at 7:30 p.m., so that she could retrieve a ring Adam had taken from her. Now, the red star is Helen's house. Blue is Howard Street. Adam showed up, but he refused to give Helen her ring. He yelled at Helen. She pulled out a revolver, but the hammer caught in her shawl and the gun went off, killing Adam Sutter. His body was found in the yard at 18 Green Street. Eventually, the trail led back to Helen, who had gone home and gone to bed. She was arrested and put on trial for the murder of Adam Sutter. Oh, it was big news, even getting a write-up in the National Police Gazette. The lawyers involved were Harrison Hoyt and District Attorney Solon Lewis. The trial took place at the 3rd Onondaga County Courthouse on Clinton Square. That's where it was located. Harrison Hoyt had an excellent reputation as a defense attorney. His most effective tactic in this case may have been number 6, bringing the children into court and having them sitting there crying. It took the jury just 30 minutes to reach a verdict: not guilty. Helen Rancière put her ordeal behind her and lived another 44 years. She died in 1928 at the age of 81. Let's move on to our second case. This case involves a Syracuse resident and star baseball player, Moses Fleetwood Walker, also known as Fleet Walker. Well, he's not in Oakwood, but his is a story too good to pass up, and I'll eventually connect it to an Oakwood resident. Fleet Walker is recognized as the first Black professional baseball player. In 1884, he played professionally for the Toledo Blue Stockings. He played the position of catcher. Here's what catchers of that era looked like. Fleet would have worn a glove like the one on the left. After his career with Toledo ended, he played with some other teams. In 1888, he joined the Syracuse Stars. He was with the team in 1889, but in 1890 he retired from baseball and settled in Syracuse. He took a job with the railroad as a mail carrier. There were at that time some pretty shady characters on the streets and in the alleys of Syracuse. Walker was unlucky enough to run into 3 of them. In the late afternoon of April 9th, 1891, Fleet was walking home from work. Well, he stopped at a local saloon and had a couple of beers. He came out of the saloon and started heading for home. It was then that Patrick Murray and 2 of his friends decided to taunt Walker. They threw a rock at him, hitting him in the head. They advanced on Walker, who drew his knife. Patty Murray was fatally stabbed. Now, all this happened at the corner of Orange and Monroe Streets. Walker surrendered and was immediately arrested. His trial for murder took place in the courthouse, with District Attorney Theodore Hancock handling the prosecution. For the defense, Harrison Hoyt, Helen Rancier's lawyer in her murder trial. As he had done in Helen's case, he attacked the victim's character and had the family with crying children sit in the courtroom. It all worked, and Walker was acquitted. The onlookers cheered so loud when the verdict was announced that the judge broke his gavel, banging for order. Well, here's our Oakwood connection. The lawyer, Harrison Hoyt, kept Fleet Walker, one of the most notable players in baseball history, from languishing in a Syracuse jail for the rest of his life. He had done the same for Helen Rancier. Fleet Walker moved back to Ohio, where he died in 1924. So he's not in Oakwood here in Syracuse. He's in Steubenville, Ohio. But it was too great a story to pass up. Well, that's about all we have time for today. Look for more chapters in our new series, Murder Most Foul. This tour was presented by the Historic Oakwood Cemetery Preservation Association. Visit our website at hocpa.org. Thank you, and come again.